everybody, and welcome to Hour 2 of Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. It is Tuesday, December 18th, 2012, and after tonight, we have 3 more nights before we say good night for the final broadcast. Joining us this hour is a gentleman that we brought on last night at the last segment of the second hour. He's not only a unique journalist, he's one of the few that I've met in the past year that doesn't necessarily toe the party line or the journalistic line as it's put out there by various other media outlets. He is the founder and editor of Ameriborn News, Mr. William Landers. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right. I want to talk to you some more about what took place in Connecticut on Friday, but right now, I asked you last night if you thought maybe the coverage of the Sandy Hook shooting was a bit too much, and you didn't think so. And then I couldn't get to sleep last night, so I'm watching Red Eye. And TV's Andy Levy asked the same question. They were talking about, Sandy Hook and what had taken place. And Bill Schultz, Greg Gutfield's goofy sidekick, so to speak, shocked me because he said the same thing. He said that he thinks that the media has really overplayed this to a point. Why do you think that they haven't?
Well, I think the country needs to understand that we don't do something quickly and wake up and stop from the wrong direction that we're going in. This is the end result. And more you bring that out, and you see the heartbreak and the terror in these people. And, even when you have people that you don't necessarily agree with on policy showing immense emotion, as they have to go through, as our governor of the state has had to do, and talk with the families that have lost their children right before Christmas to top it all off. And seeing the pain that he feels for them, which he doesn't, he's always been known as Angry Dan,
Mm-hmm.
But you can see, the emotion and the caring that he has. I mean, he even broke down in a press conference yesterday, crying a little bit. And it wasn't fake. It was genuine.
Right,
and,
but see, I understand that coming from Governor Malloy. I guess where I'm trying to get a better understanding of the nonstop media coverage, it's like since this thing took place, and let's face it, I don't think anybody would argue that this is a tragic, senseless act of violence that took the lives of 28 people, including the shooter. 20 of them young children no older than 7 years of age. Women, teachers who, it's now being reported, literally threw themselves in front of their students and took a bullet hoping to save their students. I understand that. I guess Bill Schultz kind of hit on where I was going with the question yesterday, and that is, while I understand we need to accept responsibility for the direction that we're going as a society, Bill brought up an interesting point at 3 o'clock this morning, and that is, by continuing to push this coverage to the extent that we have, are we not giving other individuals who are antisocial, who sit back, who may want to figure out how they can belong or how they can become known to an otherwise elusive society that they might see by figuring, okay, well, I sit here and do the same thing this kid did, maybe I can go out and do something like he did, and then I'll get my 15 minutes of fame, so to speak. I think it's a double-edged sword.
I don't think that's what it is.
Okay, but you don't think we're running that risk?
No, more the opposite. We're waking parents up to realize that they need to monitor their children better. In this case, the shooter was a autistic who suffered with Asperger's syndrome. He's been confirmed and diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome now, which is an antisocial disorder. He really didn't receive the proper care and treatment he should have gotten. His mother, of course, once he hit 18, the kid became on his own. And she, like any parent that the kids of age now, they went out. She went out and drank and went to bars and hung out with friends and stuff and paid less attention to them. Unfortunately, though, that allowed, in the last 2 years, from what witnesses have described, his mental condition has deteriorated significantly.
Well, look,
and there's nowhere really for this child to be monitored or I mean.
Okay, but let me ask you this, Bill. This is what's bothering me. I understand that it's been confirmed that he was diagnosed with Asperger's, but Asperger's isn't. I mean, it's actually a form of autism to where the kid is capable of functioning at a higher level than most autistic kids do. We've got questions. People have asked, okay, was he on any medications and what type? Then we have a news Then we have a news report today coming out of Connecticut by the state police that says they found no evidence in his house that he was taking any medications of any kind. Then we've got contradicting reports that he was actually taking a new antipsychotic drug. Then we've got.
I would go with what the state police said. Yeah.
Okay, but we come up with this other report now that Nancy Lanza was actually in the process of committing her son to a psychiatric facility.
Well, yeah, exactly. And again, if they jumped on this quicker, if the Connecticut laws, allowed parents to do this a little bit easier, this might have never happened.
See, I understand. I understand that. But here's my problem with people talking about the laws. The laws, I think, those who aren't familiar with the mental health system in this country, it was so easy for those exercising jurisdiction from a legal standpoint, or those who simply wanted to accuse someone of being mentally ill. It was so easy at a point in this country to where kids and adults were simply locked away in psychiatric facilities. Let's not forget that Jack Nicholson's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, even though a large part of it was fictional, it was based on a real-life sanitarium and the conditions therein. So,
yeah,
I understand.
Those conditions were before they closed down these major facilities. The problem is bed space and getting into different programs and there's no one, see, when we had the different health districts, the hospitals in the different districts, they actually reached into the community and monitored people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gone. There's no real good organizational approach to this any longer.
I don't think.
Unfortunately, majority of them now are ending up in prison because they really don't get help that they need until they've already committed some kind of crime.
Now you just hit something that is definitely true, and I was going to say I don't think that it's a matter of the people. Look, mental health issues have been abused in the past, then they've been ignored. And now everybody's clamoring, well, how do you treat someone? You don't have the bed space.
Exactly. So if we had these hospitals still open in Connecticut, I believe there was at least 5 of them that that were closed, major, state mental institutions.
Mm-hmm.
But even if they even converted those to like a residential facility where people could stay, you know what I mean, and that way they could be monitored a little bit more closely, in case they don't take their medication a few days and then slip off into a different world. You know what I mean?
Right. Hold tight. We're coming up on commercial. When we come back, we'll pick up on this conversation because I tend to agree with you. I think something needs to be done when it comes to the mental health treatment aspect of this, but I'm not so sure hospitalization is the answer. We're talking with William Landers of Ameriborn News out of the great state of Connecticut. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Scientists in England have succeeded in stabilizing the time-honored substance in garlic that destroys harmful bacteria, viruses, molds, yeast, and fungus. This all-natural microbe killer is called Allicin C, and it's now available to you in 100% vegetarian capsules only on the New Earth page at Rense.com. This powerful broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent is harmless to friendly bacteria and has been concentrated to equal an astonishing 35 cloves of garlic in each vegetarian capsule. Think about it. The antibacterial, antiviral strength of 35 odorless cloves of garlic in just one capsule. Allicin C is so effective it even destroys superbug MRSA in test after test. Allicin C is truly an incredible advance in natural medicine, and with the threats of bacterial and viral diseases and pandemics growing, no home should be without it. Learn more and order Allicin C on the New Earth page at Rense.com.
Remember this name, Carnivora. That's CARNIVORA.com. What if I told you that this 100% pure and natural product was delivered directly to the White House at President Reagan's personal request at a time when only the president was able to obtain it? Reagan used this amazing product, Carnivora, successfully, a product derived only from nature that has the intelligence to instinctively attack abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell, and the power to actually wake up critical immune cells from dormancy to attack foreign invaders that don't belong in our bodies. Carnivora is now obtainable by anyone who wants to get healthy and stay that way. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and protect yourself with 17 naturally occurring compounds that will unleash powerful immune defense. That's 1-866-VENUS-FLY. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and get your Carnivora today. Visit carnivora.com.
Known worldwide as the most consistently fascinating, informative, and unique program on radio, the Jeff Rense program can be yours to listen to anytime, anywhere, whenever you want to hear it. For pennies a day, our subscribers can download any of Jeff's thousands of programs featuring a treasury of newsmakers, researchers, eyewitnesses, and incredible subjects, all in MP3 commercial-free, crystal-clear 56-bit digital sound, and take these often unforgettable programs with them wherever they go. As a subscriber, you can also listen live at airtime, online, anywhere in the world, or browse through our archives of over 10,000 hours of legendary broadcasts. Subscribe now by taking the link at the top of Rense.com and enrich your mind with the most unique panorama of vital information and the best independent, honest journalism in radio. Look for the Subscribe Now link on Rense.com and give yourself the knowledge you need for these unprecedented times.
Back talking with Ameriborn News editor William Landers. All right, Bill. Hospitalization. Connecticut's actually not a large state. Is that a fair assessment?
It's not geographically that large.
Okay.
It does have a few million people in it.
All right, so let's take Connecticut just for an example. 5 state mental hospital facilities. When you start talking about supervising individuals to make sure they take medications, I think we get into this argument that some of these very medications that some kids and adults have been prescribed over the years have turned out to be proven to actually create an even more volatile psychiatric condition than what the individual was suffering before taking the medication. So how do we balance out the cause and effect of these things?
Well, unfortunately, for way too long, that medication when really it wasn't needed, where treatment was more of what was needed more than medication. That took place a lot, and it did happen a lot in these hospitals. Unfortunately, because they just want to keep everybody calm and quiet, which I get that,
See, but that you just said something that. See, I have a problem today talking to adults who have children who tell me that their kids are on Ritalin because I'm 51 today. But when I was a kid, believe it or not, I was extremely hyper, and doctors thought, oh, we'll put them on Ritalin. Ritalin actually had the complete opposite effects on me as a child, and my mother took me off of it quite quickly. You're right. I think we've gone through a period of time in this country to where everything has been treated with a pill.
Pharmaceutical is not going to cure everything.
Exactly. And I think by using these medications, I think we've actually ignored some other things, because I know there was one terrific study that demonstrated how basic allergies were the cause of some kids' attention deficit disorder and hyperactivity that no one even bothered to consider or even test the kid for.
Well, yeah, allergies, most of your hyperactive disorders are caused by allergies. Believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize that.
So here's my question. What happens if we keep, today's Tuesday, every day, all day, every channel, I don't care which channel you put it on, we're constantly...
When the terrorists bombed the World Trade Center, how long was that on?
Well, no, I understand that.
The same
but
thing.
What I'm asking...
Terrorist act, but in a domestic terrorist.
But what I'm asking is this. Does it not make it even more difficult for the victims and the families to even start the healing process because there's cameras and microphones following their every move? Does it not?
Well, I don't know. I think maybe not in some cases. I think if they didn't have so many doing it, it would be different. It would be a lot easier. But they have so many different people with different agendas going, bothering them. Instead of, again, if it was just the regular Connecticut, press corps that works here, that's here every day, who are very respectful to, people and stuff, and you have all these people from all over the country, all over the world, for that matter, coming in.
Right.
I think you would see a much better result. I think they do want to speak how they feel. And
but that's fine.
Possibly feel better a little bit, Not necessarily.
See, I'm not
it's ever going to make them feel better, but it may help a little.
See,
but
I'm not.
You have, some of these jerks. I hate to put it that way. Harassing them and stuff, and they're not very respectful.
See, I'm not necessarily saying that the family shouldn't be able to talk about this if they want to. I do think that we're overdoing it by constantly trying to analyze how these families might possibly be feeling, or analyzing every little bit of information that somebody who may have happened to have had a cup of coffee with Nancy Lanza or someone.
That's good, though. You want that information.
But I don't think you want it out in.
Not necessarily out in the public, but you want to gather that information because then you can piece it all together and figure out what happened, what took place, and how we can correct this so it doesn't happen, going forward. But see, again, a society that takes God out of it, Larry, I hate to say it, this is pretty much the end result.
Well, no, I understand where you're coming from, but here's my problem.
I find more people get healed. I find more people get healed by, turning themselves over to God than anybody. People that have given themselves over to Christ. I find people that suffer from major inflictions and child abuse and all kinds of things end up being very, very productive. Even people that spend time in prison, gave themselves over to Christ, and all of a sudden, their lives are completely different, and the way they think and the way they act and the way they handle situations are a lot different.
Right, but see, you have to remember, these have to be personal choices. Hang tight, Bill. When we come back, we'll continue. We're talking with William Landers, editor of Ameriborn News out of Connecticut. We are discussing the media coverage and the effects of it from the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting. We'll be right back after these brief messages. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rinse Radio Network.
California, seeing the sights, getting drunk, looking up at the Napa Valley moonshine, gazing at the stars on a Hollywood nights. As the stars walk by my side, I heard Lady Liberty lost her crown. As I was searching for my country at the lost and found, fell in love at first sight, messing around. He had the cutest little nose and there's a window at the door he found. I'm American made.
Charlie McGrath of Wide Awake News here with an important message from Chris, Phil, Russ, Tyler, and the rest of the folks at BuyEmergencyFoods.com. Do not wait until it's too late to be prepared for disaster. The world's a crazy place. Ever-present threat of man-made political and economic crisis makes it important to be prepared. But when you factor in natural disasters, it goes from being important to being mandatory. 7.7 earthquake in Canada, 6.5 earthquake in Central America, and over 50 million Americans affected by Hurricane Sandy, all in the span of just a few days. Make Legacy Premium freeze-dried storable food part of your preparedness plan today. Legacy Premium tastes great, has a 25-year shelf life, and is the only certified non-GMO freeze-dried storable food in the business. I recommend the 360-serving package. That's 120 days worth of life-sustaining calories for about $1.25 a serving. Please call them at 888-543-7345. Again, 888-543-7345, or better yet, visit them online at BuyEmergencyFoods.com.
American Masters Painting, a family-owned and operated business beautifying homes in Northern Virginia for over 30 years. American Masters craftsmen serve all of your painting, staining, and wood refinishing needs. American Masters not only guarantees to deliver satisfying results, they also promise a positive, rewarding, and personalized experience to your complete satisfaction. American Masters Painting is recognized for its flawless expertise in all custom interior and exterior projects. For a free and timely estimate, contact American Masters Painting toll-free at 888-760-7760 or visit AmericanMastersPainting.com. And remember, when you're thinking American Masters Painting, you're thinking one family serving another, one project at a time. American Masters Painting is a proud sponsor of Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rinse Radio Network.
You're listening to the Rinse Radio Network, coast to coast on the Galaxy 19 KU band satellite, nationwide and worldwide on the Internet, and of course, on rinse.com.
Are chemtrail geoengineering programs changing our weather and destroying our environment? Why in the world are they spraying?
They want to create a storm in the southeast, then they'll start engineering out over the North Pacific. That's where the trailies will be.
Find out why critics are calling Why in the World Are They Spraying the most important film that is revolutionizing the environmental movement.
It's just going to get worse until the point where we're not going to be able to grow anything at all unless it's a Monsanto genetically modified, abiotic stress resistant seed.
Why in the world are they spraying? New international version with languages available from around the world. For 1 month, Rinse listeners receive free shipping. Go to the banner on the front of the Rinse website and click on the link for more info.
It's all about money, and weather is another form of commoditizing, a way the Central Command Group can commoditize another form of our life.
Why in the world are they spraying?
And if you control the weather, you're going to control the planet. It's that simple.
Will 2012 bring the Mayan end of world or the global banking collapse? In 2007, one man, Mike Dillard, made 5 predictions which forecasted the 2008 economic crisis and the pending Eurozone collapse. This week, Mike unleashes 3 brand new, shocking, must-watch videos with predictions for the coming year. www.the3videos.com. Over the past year, Mike Dillard has helped thousands of ordinary people create and recover wealth by tapping into the black box investing strategies the big banks don't want you to know about. www.the3videos.com. As the European banking system implodes and governments collapse at breakneck speeds, the next 12 months will be the most anticipated and important months in modern human history. This will make 2008 look like a walk in the park. Everyone will be affected. Go to www.the3videos.com now. Learn how to prepare your family and prosper during the global financial collapse.
You're my soldier boy, a man amongst men. You're my soldier boy, a man amongst men. You're my soldier
And we are back. We are speaking with William Landers, editor of Ameriborn News. Out of the great, let's see, Connecticut's called the Granite State, isn't it?
Constitution State.
Gee, that's funny because the Keystone State of Pennsylvania was changed to the Independent State, or at least on the signs when you cross the line. Look, before going to commercial, I said the religious part of a person's life has to be a personal decision. I understand that, and I agree with you. I think most people will say that by finding spirituality, it's made dealing with life's difficulties quite a bit easier for them. But I guess what I'm more concerned about is we have a media that, and we fell victim to this, you and I talked about this over the weekend, where people were putting out information claiming that it was coming from law enforcement sources there in the state of Connecticut on Friday, to where Peter Lanza was reported as being murdered himself. His other son Ryan Lanza was being reported as actually being the shooter, and people were posting all over his Facebook page some of the nasty, most vile comments that they could post, not to mention the number of people that set up additional Facebook pages under Ryan Lanza's name, making him a public figure for the purposes of attacking and making these ridiculous posts against. Go ahead.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but we didn't do that.
No, you didn't, and I didn't. I mean, I did try. I'm not going to lie. I did kind of report what was coming out of the different major news wires from the Associated Press on down the line.
That's why
but
again, when you have a press corps that works in that state, they tend to know what's really going on. They have they have good connections in with the local authorities.
But you can't say that, because some of Connecticut's own media outlets were putting it out that Ryan Lanza was the shooter.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't any of ours, actually.
Oh, no, yes, it was.
So Associated Press and CNN, I might have.
And the Hartford Courant did too, because we actually linked to. It was one of the first stories that we linked to on Friday when this was shaping
they're
out.
They're collapsing right now, by the way. You know, they're in bankruptcy again, and
okay,
that whole organization is all messed up now.
All right, but listen to where
used to be good. I'm more talking about like Channel 3 or Channel 8 here.
Yeah, but see, listen to where I'm going with this for a minute, because, and this is what I'm talking about, the incessant media coverage to the point to where none of these media outlets have stopped long enough to take a deep breath and back up from a lot of the misinformation that they put out there themselves. It's almost like they're ignoring all of the inaccurate misinformation from Friday and just trying to continue coverage of this. And I think it's wrong. I think it sets
Larry,
people up.
It's getting worse than that. You know, you got all these wacko groups, these Ron Pauli types, InfoWar type people here.
But why did you refer
misinformation going?
But wait a minute. Why did you refer to them as these Ron Pauli types?
Well, that's what they are. They're not real reporters.
But why would they have to be Ron Pauli types? Is what I'm kind of asking. But what is a Ron Pauli type?
I can't even describe
it. I mean, look,
I've
covered
everything's conspiracy. Okay.
Okay, but see,
I got information that Adam Lanza's father, was supposed to testify before a hearing, and
okay, but
this is why Adam went on this killing spree, so his father wouldn't have to testify. It's all nonsense.
Well, no, I understand that, but what I'm asking you is, who put that out there and why? Because I don't think that anybody can be identified as a Ron Pauli type, because I've spent the last 9 months covering a lot of these liberty movement groups, and I went in thinking, kind of the same thing that a lot of other people have put out there about them. And I think it's only fair to point out that the majority of these groups don't subscribe to the Alex Jones InfoWars conspiracy mentality that everybody's trying to connect them with. And I just thought that's the reason I asked what's the Ron Pauli type. Because if you stop, I'm telling you, you'll find a lot.
News worldwide at WordPress. Let's see.
Okay, but see, all right, but see, you just pointed out, the minute you said at WordPress something, that's not a news organization. Anybody that posts sitting on a WordPress or a Blogger .com hosted site I'm sorry, I don't call them any type of news organization because
I know some very good former reporters that are retired that have those. So,
okay.
I mean that's not necessarily true. But here we got from before it was news website, right here about
okay, before it's news, but
2 mass shootings connected to Libra scandal. And the guy that did this video, I mean, he's really, he's walking around with obviously with a video camera strap pointing at him, talking, walking around. I mean, it's nonsense, really nonsense.
But do you know all of the people associated with Before It's News?
Oh God, no! I don't wait.
Because I was going to say, believe it or not, they're credentialed. They're credentialed. You'd be surprised at how many credentialed journalists that are associated with them. I'm not saying that everything that goes up on Before It's News is news. I think they do a good job in their categorizing stuff, because they make it clear that stuff that's published on that site that they consider to be conspiracy theories has to be published under that particular category. And unfortunately, you and I both know, we have that same thing with Breitbart.com, with Michelle Malkin, with even Town Hall's gotten into it a little bit lately. There's this big conspiracy against the conservative media with this Brett Kimberlin thing. So, I don't know. All right, hang tight, Bill. We're coming back after this break. We're talking to William Landers from Ameriborn News. And believe it or not, William is a foot journalist and he puts an awful lot of miles on that leather, and we'll talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Heart and Body Extract has a 23-year proven track record of using certified organic herbs that make up an excellent formula to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. In as little as 2 weeks, you can feel amazing results when your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioAge.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
We're speaking with William Landers from Ameriborn News out of the state of Connecticut. Bill, while we were on commercial, you made me think about something. We were talking about before it was news and other sites that you say deal with the conspiracy things, and I mentioned the fact that, you know, we've got a lot in the so-called conservative media or new conservative media, however they want to describe it, that have been really pushing this this narrative that the conservative media is the victim of this vicious attack by the Brett Kimberlin crew. Today I got an email from the American Conservative Union announcing the first wave of speakers for CPAC 2013.
Oh, yeah, I noticed I wasn't on there.
Don't feel bad. Neither was I. But what was more interesting with that is I got an email last night while I was actually on the program talking to you that someone sent to me that they had found in their RSS feeds, where you've got an individual and an organization that claims to be the original organizer of the Tea Party movement and the voice of the conservative America, who posted something on Twitter, of all places, saying that they were spending money that had been paid to sponsor a particular event during the CPAC conference for printing T-shirts and flyers about the Brett Kimberlin attacks on him and conservative media to be distributed to 10,000 plus activists at CPAC 2013. Why is it that when it's a so-called conservative outlet that or individual, why is it that it's this concerted effort, but it's only news? It's only something that needs to be dealt with as long as it affects them. Once it doesn't affect them, it's not news anymore. Do you see us going through 2013 and 2014 where even the conservative media is going to have problems as far as being seen as credible?
Well, I think most of them are not very credible. I've proven that time and time again. Almost in scary accuracy. Everything I've predicted from Peter Schiff down all the way to you name it.
Right.
Even Mitt Romney losing, I knew that would happen too.
Well, it is interesting because
Peter Schiff has Asperger's, right?
No.
Yeah, I'm the one that discovered that and brought it out during his U.S. Senate campaign here in Connecticut, which makes him very good at making money for people, but at what cost to America, the country, and its people.
Well, let me ask you.
I have video when he first started saying that he was against the Federal Reserve. Then I have a video of him speaking at one of his hedge fund meetings, in which he says, "Well, the Federal Reserve's okay as long as I control it." What do you mean? Whoa! Did you just say as long as you control it? I mean, it's people like that scare the heck out of me. I got to be honest with you.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question and feel free if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to, because I'm not trying to put you in the crossfires, but I'm real interested in your opinion on this. Look, you covered CPAC last year in February because that's where I met you at. Andrew Breitbart was there. Andrew was finally getting more respect and acknowledgement after being pretty much blackballed by the conservative movement after the Shirley Sherrod video fiasco. In fact, Fox had banned him from even being mentioned, much less featured on any of its programming. But since Andrew's passing, I've noticed an awful lot of individuals and organizations doing everything in their power to raise money off of Andrew Breitbart's name, but don't necessarily exercise the same openness and transparency and integrity and honesty that I think Andrew did.
Well, I look at it this way: if you gotta make money off of somebody else's name, then what substance are you for your own organization or whatever? If I can't raise money for Ameriborn News under Ameriborn News' guise and thought processes and abilities, then if I have to say, well, hey, Breitbart, and when I'm running Ameriborn News, it makes no sense. That shows that my quality of what I do isn't good.
From a personal standpoint and a professional one, you've seen it. I mean, look, just the recent union fiasco in Lansing, Michigan. And the following day, after Steven Crowder gets swung on, I saw Katie Pavlich, who I have the utmost respect for in her research and her reporting on Fast and Furious. You've got Michelle Malkin. You've got Steve Crowder. You've got all these people.
I will say Michelle Malkin's very beautiful, though.
Well, she may be beautiful, and believe it or not, I mean, people have said that I continue to attack her. No, I don't continue to attack her. I actually have said repeatedly that I admire a lot of the things that she has done. However, I'm a firm believer that if you put your name on something and you get involved in something and you're given information that makes clear to you that things were not completely honest and transparent and above board, and you choose to try to cover that up and continue to pump something for financial or position, then I'm sorry, but what you do by doing that is you make everything good that you've done fall under...
Yeah, but Larry, people got to make money, too. You understand, you can't do anything if you're not making any. You know, you can't reach anybody, you can't get information, you can't do anything if you don't have any money.
Let me rephrase that.
Realistic.
Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying that their organizations cannot make money. I understand that. But when you go out and you put your name on something and you tell people that you personally and professionally are calling on people to contribute money to something because somebody that you know or somebody that you work with, and this is my problem, when you ask to raise money to help people that you claim have been victimized by internet attacks, only to know that while you're out there saying that this is why you need to send money to help these people, you know that what you're saying is completely not true. That's the problem I have. It has nothing to do with whether they make money.
I have no
understand.
idea what you're talking about.
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm giving you an example. That's my problem. I know that you've questioned some of the so-called new conservative media and its intent. Are you going to be at CPAC 2013?
Most likely.
Oh, so you are coming to the Gaylord National this year? Yes, that's right. I said the Gaylord National.
Yeah. I try not to connect those two words together. But it's a personal thing, man. Yeah.
Oh, God. If only our listeners knew half the things that we have actually talked about that have, some of the jokes that have been thrown out there, we'd probably both be banned for life from ever showing our faces at certain places. Look, I admire what you do. I admire the fact that you really do try to do things in a way that I think other media outlets don't try to do them in anymore. I admire the way that you do try to stay out of the controversies and the soap operas of the media. But I will tell you this, before I'm done with you, I'm going to have convinced you and persuaded you to be a bit more forceful with exposing those who aren't necessarily what they appear to be. Now, did you like the fact that I said I'm going to actually persuade you?
There's an old rule in journalism. There's an old rule in journalism. You never go after your fellow journalist.
What?
Never good business to go after your fellow journalist. It's just reality. It's just not.
It's never a good rule, even if you know that someone portraying themselves...
It's got to be so blatant. It's got to be so, all right, this person's definitely lying, and this is how they're lying, this is why they're lying.
Uh-huh.
But if it's just kind of like, kind of like a more of a soap opera type thing, I mean, obviously, if somebody gets pinched, for, sexual assault on a kid or something like that, you have no other choice. You got to fry them, I hate to say it that way, but, it's one thing I can't stand, especially being a victim of sexual assault.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, because we've only got a couple of minutes, but I want to get your opinion on this. Jim DeMint is leaving the Senate. He's going to head the Heritage Foundation.
I think that's a big mistake for the Heritage Foundation.
Well, it may be for the Heritage Foundation. I think it is one of the shrewdest political moves that Jim DeMint could have ever made. But,
yeah. I mean, he was done.
But here's what I want to ask you. Judge Napolitano is the first person that I heard say this, and I think that it might cause some nervous reactions from some of the Heritage Foundation members. But Napolitano said that Jim DeMint will, by going to Heritage Foundation, bring the libertarian voters back into the conservative voting bloc, because he knows. Okay. That's. I was going to ask you.
I find most of your libertarians are very self-centered. Just really, I don't know.
But you like the judge, don't you?
They're not real Republicans. Yeah.
All right. Well, unfortunately on that one, I'm going to have to leave it there because we're done for the night. Thanks for coming back on with me, Mr. Landers.
All right.
Where can people read Ameriborn News?
At www.ameribornnews.com.
Thank you, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
And thank you for listening to another Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. Tomorrow in the first hour, we have Seth. My name is Seth. And Jarrell Johnson, the Homeless Heroes. We had them on this program on March 27th of this year. And since then, they have become the newest MTV television stars. And we'll talk to them about their exciting ride to the top over the last 9 months. And we may end up rescheduling Bridget Gabriel for tomorrow night in the second hour instead of Thursday due to some family things that she has planned on Thursday. I will update you on the website at sinclairnews.net. In the meantime, thank you again for listening. This has been Through the Mirror with Larry Sinclair on the Rense Radio Network. Good night.
You gotta be the man. Stand up and stand up.
Oxygen. It's nature's oldest therapy and plays an essential role in destroying viruses, bacteria, mold, yeast, and fungus, and keeping the human body healthy and strong. Now, you can give your body and your immune system a mega boost of disease-fighting oxygen with all-natural Oxy-C. With so many people now leading a sedentary indoor lifestyle, most are in a chronic state of oxygen deprivation, which sets up a perfect environment for disease, general fatigue, and a host of other symptoms. Oxy-C is yours in simple, convenient capsules. Nothing to mix, nothing to hassle with. Take it with juice or water anytime. Feel a cold or flu approaching? Have no energy or spark anymore? Try all-natural Oxy-C and prepare to be amazed. Oxy-C is only available from New Earth Health Solutions at Rense.com. Look for the New Earth banner at Rense.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Rentz. Royal Raymond Rife was without question the most gifted medical scientific genius of our age. He discovered that most disease-related microbes die quickly when exposed to their own specialized resonant radio frequencies. The BCX411 Rife-type frequency instrument has received the highest praise on several continents for its precision, simplicity of operation, and successful research experiment. The BCX, with its comprehensive manual, allows you to select the frequencies you wish to experiment with for the length of time you want to run them. The BCX handheld plasma ray tubes and RF radio carrier